Hello, Jerry here with Season 4, Episode 38 of Ask Jerry Tachoir. First of all, if you'd like to ask me a question, simply go to my website, which is www.tachoir.com. That's Tachoir. In the upper right-hand corner is a Contacts tab. Click on that, fill out your name and information, ask your question, and perhaps we'll do one of those videos. You can also do a comment in this video on YouTube, and I'll see it there. But the easiest way is to go to my website. And please do subscribe to this channel. It does help out a lot. The first question today, or actually the only question today, comes from Tyler in Wyoming. Hi Jerry, I've watched all your videos. I'm inspired by your dexterity and your constant use of 4 mallets. Your mallets seem to have a mind of their own and know what to do and where to go to express your performance. I'm struggling to hold 4 mallets and dampen and play the right notes and trying to be musical with chord voicings and dynamics. There's a lot going on and it all seems so overwhelming. Can you discuss your inner thinking as you are playing? I can get past the conscious, thinking means I can't get past the conscious overthinking, and my playing sounds so square. Any suggestions would really help. Tyler in Wyoming. Tyler, you have a very loaded question there, but let's start at the very beginning regarding your comment on struggling to hold 4 mallets. I am exclusively a 4 mallet player, and I've made a decision at one point in my career that it just makes sense for me to constantly be holding 4 mallets for a variety of simple reasons. If I need a chord real quick, this will give me a chord. By holding 4 mallets, I immediately, just by standing over the instrument, immediately I have 4 notes available to me at the drop of a mallet, right? And then I can go up or down a half step and have 4 notes immediately available to me without really any motion whatsoever. So my comment to you regarding that is first of all, find a grip that you like. And I'm not going to go into the various grips and which one is better, which one isn't, blah, blah, blah. That's your decision. It's a personal choice as to which grip you want to use. But find a grip that you are comfortable with and you are satisfied, and commit yourself to playing with those mallets, 4 mallets, all the time, regardless of the situation. And after a bit, you'll find that it just feels comfortable to constantly be holding 4. The weight seems balanced to you. The ability to get to random notes all over the keyboard at the flick of a wrist will then become very apparent and something you need. You need to work on it, obviously, but you'll see after a while that it just makes sense. And even what I do, sometimes if I'm sitting up there watching television or hanging out, I always have mallets like real close by. I will just pick up the mallets and I'll simply hold them and just kind of move them around like this. And what this does, it gets me comfortable with the feel and the weight of the mallet, and it also keeps my calluses, which are very important. You have to develop these calluses in your fingers to where the mallet actually rubs against the finger. You have to get these calluses, which then allows you to be able to play for long periods of time without getting the blister, and then it pops and bleeds and it just becomes a very annoying thing. So commit yourself to a grip, commit yourself to being a 4 mallet player. And then you'll start finding, like arpeggios. If I wanted to play a big arpeggio, like something like this, all I'm doing is just flicking around my wrist, just kind of doing that. And by doing that, I can get to the notes accurately, I can stay in the center of the bars, and I'm reducing the motion. Now, my rule to overall percussion playing in general, if you can reduce the motion required to play your instrument, you'll play faster, you'll play cleaner, you'll become more accurate with less likelihood of a wrong note. So we want to try to get rid of that. So if you were playing that arpeggio with 2 mallets, you have all that motion. And all that motion means you're exerting yourself, and you're likely you're going to hit a wrong note just because of the physical motion of your arms to try to get to the bar. But if you're just It's just real easy to get to. So that's my first thing. Now, there's a lot going on the vibraphone. It's one of the probably easiest instruments to come to and initially play, because you pick up a mallet, you hit a bar, not much to it. But now when you start looking at how to make this into music, when you got the pedal, you got the fact that the bar is sustained, and now you're holding 4 mallets, which gives you the options of chords and everything else, there is a lot going on. And then you have to control the ringing. And I have several videos of that, and it's also mentioned in my book. You should get a copy of it. It's called A Contemporary Mallet Method. It's an approach to the vibraphone and marimba. I think it's available on Steve Weiss, or you can email to me. I could arrange for you to purchase a copy somehow. Anyway, get a hold of my book. And in my book, I have a whole chapter on dampening and pedaling. And I'm not going to go into it here because I've covered it many times in different things, but you can check it out. And these things need to be so ingrained into your subconscious that as you're playing, you're not really thinking about it. You're just executing musical ideas, and you're using your understanding of what notes can ring and what notes cannot ring that sound bad together, and dampen those things. And this will become apparent to you just by listening to yourself. Record yourself. You'll hear real quickly, oh, that seconds ringing is really horrible, or that flat 9 interval ringing like that is really bad. I need to resolve it. And so the dampening stuff is something you really, really, really got to polish and figure out. And then chord voicings. Now, again, this video here is, I don't have enough time to talk about all the possibilities of chord voicings. And I did another video actually on talking about playing bigger sounds. You can check that out, or you probably already did since you saw my videos. But you have to find out how to get from chord to chord to chord smoothly. It's called voice leading. How to make a chord you see, I'm going from chord to chord to chord to chord, and there's not a lot of motion. I'm just like the notes that need to move, I'm making them move, and just kind of easing into the next chord voicing, okay? And that's something, it's a challenge to do, but you just figure it out. By holding your mallets open, you'll see, I can keep this note needs to move, I need to get rid of this note, I'm going to this chord, you figure that out as you go along, but it's a slow process. Take your time, work at it, and you'll develop that concept of getting from chord to chord. The frustrating part comes with the fact that perhaps you're like trying to do everything at once. And yes, it can be overwhelming. Again, I got to deal with sticking, I got to deal with 4 mallets, I got to deal with dampening, pedaling, voicings, chords, dynamics, playing the right notes, playing in the center of the bars, blah, 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 on and on and on. And that will drive you crazy. So find an area first that you need to work out. And that means really, initially, you're dampening and you're pedaling. If you can play clean on this instrument, if you can allow or find a way to control the ringing, which is again dampening and pedaling, then everything else will fall into place musically. Now, it's a challenge to understand harmony, but it's not like rocket science. It's something you study. It's something you understand that you have basically 3 areas of music. You have your tonic area, your subdominant area, and your dominant area. So tonic is like home base. It's kind of safe. It doesn't really need to move. Subdominant area is an area of slight instability that it's passing. It's going somewhere. And then the areas of dissonance, your dominant areas have dissonance because generally there's a tritone involved, and tritones want to resolve in a certain direction. So once you understand these 3 concepts, tonic, subdominant, and dominant, then all of this music starts to make sense, because then you're playing an open chord, you're in a home bass, you're playing a 1 chord, and then you maybe go into a 4 chord, you want to develop an idea, and now you want to figure out how to create some kind of resolution. So you go to your dominant area and you create a dissonance with the use of that tritone that resolves properly back to 1 chord or a 3 chord or a 6 chord or something else that allows you to go back to a tonic center. And then that starts to make sense. The improvisation thing is a whole nother bag. I mean, it's complicated, and it takes a long time to develop a concept. Now, my understanding of improvisation is it's a language. It's like, again, I always say this, if you want to speak French, you can't just start speaking French, you have to develop a vocabulary. How do you get a vocabulary? Well, you go and look up a French dictionary, or you immerse yourself, get around French-speaking people and figure out the words, and you put together this vocabulary, which then gives you the ability to communicate in French. The same with improvisation. If you've never heard people improvise, you have no idea where it goes, what it needs to do, how do I get there. So you need to hear people and start to develop that kind of vocabulary that allows you to play melodic lines in an improvised setting off of the chord changes and how to do that. And again, there's tons of books out available on all the harmony things and all the miscellaneous scales and modes that go along with the harmonies that you need to learn. But these are a bunch of things that just have to kind of come in a certain series. So start easy. Start by holding the four mallets. Start by working on your dampening and pedaling and scales and things like that. And then make sure after you get where you can play clean, then apply the chords and the voicings and go, smooth voice leading, work on that. And then as you understand theory and know the chord scales, what mode goes with which scale and blah, 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 what chord, then it starts to make sense to be able to get into the improvisation spiel. And again, I just want to say it's not an easy thing. It takes its time. You'll find that you'll evolve, like if you just be patient and work with it one step at a time, and it'll just happen. And if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And improvisation is a skill that you develop more all the time. And I'm constantly like picking up new ideas and listening to what I'm doing and developing lines better. And it's a fun thing to do, but again, it does take a lot of time. So I hope that helps you. I really don't know what else other than if you want to study with me, you can, and we can work on specific details. But other than that, just keep working on these ideas that I just mentioned. And again, I hope that helps you. And please do subscribe to my channel and watch all the videos. And if you want to ask me a question, go ahead, and hopefully we'll connect sometime in the future. Thank you so much. Enjoy.